Do I have to? Must I talk about a movie that we already know is a piece of shit? Well, I mean, it is animation related, so I guess I don't have a choice. Why don't we do some quick math real quick, shall we? This is a great video game. This is a great video game movie. You'd think that combining these two things together, you'd get something incredible, right? The quality of this with everything that makes this as amazing as it is. The quality of this plus the quality of this should equal something incredible, right? Well, apparently, corporate said no and decided to give us this piece of shit instead. A movie so bad that I dare say that I'd rather watch the Wes Anderson Resident Evil movies 8 times over. Yes, this movie sucks that hard, and we're going to talk about why. And before all of you are asking, wait, why are you reviewing this? This isn't animation related. Like, aren't you talking about Attack on Titan right now? Is that something that you should be doing? Well, 2 things. One, I already have talked about Attack on Titan today twice, and I still have to do another 2 reviews of that to this day as well. And 2, yes, this is animation related. Is it for mature audiences? Yes. Is it M-rated? Yes. But this is still related to animation because its art style is animation. Its pen and ink style is supposed to be like a comic book. So in turn, that does make it something related to animation. So I'm still talking about this anyway. But let me get some extra context here. I am a huge Borderlands fan. This has always been one of my favorite games. Is it better than Halo? No, but I love Borderlands. I love the first one. I adore the second one of my favorite shooters of all time. And I don't have a lot of like for 3, but I can recognize that's still a good game. And then Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was great. Tales from the Borderlands was great. New Tales from the Borderlands was fine. So, needless to say, I'm a huge fan of this series, and I have always been a huge fan of this series for pretty much as long as I can remember. From playing this on my uncle's Xbox, to playing 2 on the PlayStation with my brother, to playing 3 on the Xbox One with my brother, the Xbox One that I now currently own myself. Like, I am a huge Borderlands fan. I have always enjoyed this series. It's not perfect, but I've always enjoyed it. So, when I heard it was getting a movie adaptation, especially after how this kicked the doors down to make video game movies popular and actually good again, needless to say, I was excited. I'm like, Borderlands is a great choice. It's already animated. You can make it animated. Just bring back the voice actors and everything else, but just make a new story out of it. Or better, take the story of the first game and simplify it down to a feature film format and, you know, a lot less complicated side quests. Like, that could be something really cool if you give it to the right people. Problem is, Gearbox and 2K did not give it to the right people. They gave it to a bunch of stupid dipshits that honestly didn't give a shit about the franchise, did no research beforehand, and only know Borderlands by name. Because outside of, like, names of locations and some designs of characters, this has fucking nothing to do with Borderlands. And how dare it even calls itself Borderlands? So, let's just get this over with. Because, yeah, this is going on the worst list, if you couldn't already tell. And yes, I do think this movie is a flaming train wreck. But thankfully, unlike some of the other movies I've already reviewed this year, everyone seems to actually agree with me, because this movie is bombing hard at the box office, is getting railed by critics, and even audiences, and fellow Borderlands fans like me are speaking out about why this sucks so hard. So, I'm here to say my piece about it because this is probably the most I've ever been angry at a movie this year. Yes, even angrier than Mickey's Mousetrap and angrier than Strangers Chapter 1. I didn't think it was possible, but here it is, because 2024 is just a constant kick in the fucking nuts. So, let's get this over with so that we never have to talk about it again until the worst list. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Anime Station, episode for anything and everything animation. I am your host, a very pissed off, exploited, and angry Jackson Small. Let's talk about this pile of absolute fucking garbage that dares call itself Borderlands. This movie is awful. It's even more awful than you've heard, and even more awful than you can ever try to comprehend or imagine. I have a pretty long, very angry review for this one, so keep in mind this is actually coming from the perspective of someone who's a huge fan of the series. Now, I'm not going to go over like every little thing it gets wrong, or we'll be here all day, but I'm going to go over the basic stuff about why this movie sucks so hard, and why you should avoid it at all costs. It's not even so bad it's good, it's just fucking shit. So, yeah, let's just get it over with so we never have to talk about it again until the worst list. Here is my long, angry, written review of Borderlands, the movie. That was the worst video game movie that I have ever seen. A film so catastrophic that it makes the Wes Anderson Resident Evil films seem more competent, the original 90s Mario movie seem more respectful of its source material, and Mortal Kombat Annihilation seem actually watchable. Like, if you're able to actually make Mortal Kombat Annihilation, one of the most infamous, awful movies ever made, actually seem watchable in comparison to your movie, you have automatically fucking failed at your job. Yes, it's that bad. Context, I'm a huge fan of the Borderlands games and have very fond memories of grinding through the second and third games with my brother a lot. I was always excited for the next installment. I have enjoyed pretty much every game with the exception of 3 because the Calypso twins were annoying and fucking trash villains, and I will fight you on that. And after the huge success of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, I was initially excited to see Borderlands being announced to get a film adaptation shortly after. But then the cast was revealed, and it sounded awful. Kevin Hart as Roland, could you give less of a shit if you even could give a shit? Then the trailer came out, somehow looking even worse. Like a blatant Guardians of the Galaxy clone. And then the first reactions came, and it debuted at 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Needless to say, by then all hope was lost. I went in expecting trash, and what I got just might be the worst movie of this entire year. Yes, even over all the horrible sequels, reboots, and remakes from the past 7 months. It's not just as bad as you've heard, it's even worse than you can imagine. It's an abomination that deserves to be sent straight to hell. So, what's wrong with it? It's everything. It's everything that's wrong with it. The acting is awful from everybody. No one's in character. No one feels even close to their actual character, aside from one person, which we'll get to later. And it's clear that no one acting in this movie gave a shit. Jack Black as Claptrap included. The casting is horrendous. This casting, it goes beyond words. Kate Blanchett as Lilith. Shit. Kevin Hart as Roland. Shit. Jack Black as Claptrap. What could have easily been the best part of the movie, just like with the Mario movie where he was amazing as Bowser. Shit. Ariana Greenblatt as Tiny Tina. Not good, but tolerable. Florian Montague as Krieg, tolerable. And Jamie Lee Curtis, fine. She's not good in this movie, but I can't really say it's her fault, so it's fine. All the characters except Krieg and Tina suck and never shut the fuck up. Especially Lilith, my favorite character in the games. Here is the worst part of the whole movie. Kate Blanchett is the worst part of this entire movie. This is acting so bad that it is outright embarrassing. It is acting so bad that it screams desperation. It is acting that is so fucking bad that it boggles the mind how she was even cast in the first place. Awful. The directing is beyond incompetent, easily Eli Roth's worst movie. Because the directing in this movie is on par with someone in first-year film school. It is amateur, it is bad, it is unimpressive, and in Eli Roth's case, someone who is already established in the freaking industry, it is embarrassing. Not only that, he's also a terrible person, so he can go fuck himself. What else? The cinematography is amateur. It's bright and colorful, but it has no life to it. The writing is cringe. The writers of this movie need to be fired. This is the worst writing I think I've ever seen in a while. And considering how many shit movies have come out this year, that's saying something. The jokes are horrible. What? How do you get the jokes in your Borderlands movie this wrong? Borderlands is actually funny. The games are funny because they know what they are, they have fun with it, and they go as over the top as possible. And they are legitimately fucking hilarious. The jokes in this movie, however, are some of the worst that you will ever see, including both a piss joke and a shit joke. And both of them drag on for like 2 or 3 minutes thinking they're going to get a laugh. Obvious that nobody cared. It's obvious. The story's terrible. It has nothing to do with Borderlands outside of the name of a few locations and characters. That's it. Outside of that, it has literally fucking nothing to do with the games whatsoever. There's zero respect for the source material, zero passion from anyone involved, rewatchability is zero, the runtime's way too long, hour and a half, fuck you. This movie should not have been an hour and a half. Pacing is a slog. Why? Hour and a half, and yet it's slower than a sloth taking shit. How? Just fucking how, man. The effects are shit. Like, what were these effects? What were these effects? It was all digital, it all looked awful, and it all looked amateur. What the fuck? Shit effects. Absolute shit, dog shit effects. The villain's garbage, throwaway, nowhere near as memorable as someone like Handsome Jack. Seriously, Handsome Jack is one of the coolest fucking villains in any video game ever, and I will fight you on that. But here, this villain, I don't even remember his name. He's some weird rando. He sucks. He's not intimidating. His acting is flat. He sucks. There's no tension. There's no stakes. I mean, it tries to make you think it has stakes, but there's no stakes whatsoever. There's no stakes, because there are not words to describe how much you won't fucking care. And the worst part of all, there is zero of the over-the-top gore and blood-soaked hyper-violence that makes the games so famous. Because the boneheads at corporate decided to sanitize it with a very restricted PG-13 that doesn't even try to push its limits like FNAF did less than a year ago. Okay, I need to bring this up. Hold on. Wait here a second. I need to bring this up, because this is fucking ridiculous. This just came out last year. This just came out last year. Is it PG-13? Yes. Is it a little restrictive? Yes. But it actually fucking tried to push its rating. The Springtrap scene at the end. Brutal. There's a scene where someone literally gets chopped in fucking half. Like, this tried to push its PG-13 rating. This doesn't even fucking try. Oh, not to mention the action's terrible, too. Have I mentioned that yet? The action's movie's terrible, and the cinematography's terrible. The only, and I mean only, decent thing here, and the one character that it felt like they actually got right, was Marcus. For those of you who don't know who Marcus is the guy in the Borderlands series that's always selling you guns and equipment. And he is funny as hell. Not to mention he's also the driver of the Vault Hunter bus that you see in all the games that takes the Vault Hunters to where they need to go. Not only that, him as a character is hilarious. He is a funny character, he is a likable character, and he has an accent and a voice that you will never ever forget. Actually, hold on. Let me look up who voiced him Let me look up who voices him real quick. Because I cannot remember his name, so give me just 1 second. I need to find out who voiced Marcus. And I'm sorry this is dragging, but I mean, the movie drags, so I guess it's fitting. Let me find it. Marcus, here we go. Bruce DeBose. This is the guy that voices Marcus in the original games. This guy is funny, his voice is funny, and he does an amazing job in his voice acting. Absolutely love this guy. Oh, not to mention, Lilith's also voiced by Kid Gohan from DBZ Kai. I forgot to mention that too. Making the Kate Blanchett casting look even worse. Oh, also, why was this live action? Why are people so against doing something 100% animated? Like, give the Mario movie credit, it was 100% animation. Did it have the weird real world, video game world thing? Yes, but it was all in animation, and it fit the story they were trying to tell. This is live action just so it can be live action. And it doesn't fucking work. So, let me see who they got to play. Who plays Marcus in this movie? Okay, it's not the same guy, but they actually got this casting right. This is the one casting that I will give them that they actually got right. And that is Benjamin Byron Davis as Marcus. He sounds like him, he looks like him, he talks like him, and he is the one time in this movie that I actually got a laugh. Like, I loved Marcus in this movie. That was the one thing that they got right. A lot like in the Uncharted movie, how they got a cool cameo from Nolan North, who voiced Nathan Drake in the games. So, yeah, Marcus is the only decent thing in this movie, because that's the one casting it seemed like they actually tried. The only decent thing here was Marcus, who was actually close to his original personality and was the only time the movie was even remotely tolerable. Like, when he was on screen, I did not hate myself for watching this shit, is what I'm saying. Overall, though, whether you're a fan of the games or not, this is a massive flaming train wreck that will appeal to absolutely nobody and thus will please absolutely nobody. In an age where we expect much more effort from our video game adaptations, this is just a painful reminder of what horrendous trash we had to shovel through to get there. It wanted so badly to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but instead it became Battlefield Earth. Gearbox should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for giving this bomb wreckage the dignified name of the Borderlands series. And having been exploited by this insufferable junk pile, it's time to rain hellfire down by giving it the ultimate punishment. Like, when you have this in 2020, you have its sequel in 2022, and then last year you had not one but two great video game movies. You had the Mario movie from Illumination, which was way better than we all thought it was going to be. And we had a great FNAF movie. Like, video game movies have gotten much better over the years. But this is just a painful reminder of what shit we had to shovel through to reach this point. And I am so fucking sick and tired of these awful movies. And thankfully, everyone else seems to be sick and tired of them too, because now we know that video game movies don't have to be shit. I mean, are they all perfect? No. Like, there are problems. Like, This follows a similar road trip formula, but that's fine. It has some product placement, fine. This had one problem, and that was that its main protagonist wasn't very likable, but I mean, that's the problem with corporate forcing him in there, not the people making the movie. Like, are these video game movies that come out nowadays perfect? No, but, well, I mean, unless you're Sonic 2. But, point is, they've gotten so much better. Even the ones that are under par, like Welcome to Raccoon City, for example. That came out in 2021. That was a movie that was trying to please the fans more so than the critics, and that's why it had more focus on Easter eggs rather than a story. But even then, that movie was fine. And considering the horrible shit Resident Evil fans had to put up with to get to that point all throughout the years previous, the awful Wes Anderson movies, I mean, you can do a lot worse. But this is just a painful reminder of that worse. This is a painful reminder of those terrible garbage video game movies that we used to get all throughout the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s that didn't give a shit about the source material, that didn't give a shit about the fans, and didn't give a single shit about actually making a decent movie. They were focused on making profit only. As quick as possible. And some of them tricked us, and some of them did not. Most of them nowadays are rightfully thrown down the fucking shitter. But this, they really thought that this movie was worth the money. They really thought that this movie was worth the dignity of the Borderlands name. That goes to show you how much nobody gave a shit. Like, if we got an actual Borderlands movie that was faithful to the source material, maybe get some of the voice actors back, make it fucking animated like it should have been in the fucking first place, we could have gotten something amazing here. Hell, we could have gotten something on par with this. We could have got something on par with this. Like, we expect more from video game movies nowadays. So this is fucking inexcusable in every single way, shape, and form. And as someone who has been exploited by this movie as a fan of the Borderlands series, yeah, I'm pissed to say the fucking least. It's the worst video game movie I've ever seen. It's the worst science fiction movie I've ever seen. It's the worst adaptation of an IP I've ever seen. And the worst movie of the year, period. Stay far away. Do not watch it. Watch literally anything else. Like, if you want to go waste your time on a piece of garbage like Inside Out 2, fine. That movie has some redeeming value. This has nothing. So, I guess that's going to bring me now to my final verdict. Somehow, a 1 feels too generous. Somehow, a 0 feels too generous, honestly. This is one of those movies that is so bad that I want to make sure that nobody watches it. Nobody buys it. And it quickly disappears and fades into irrelevance, while this gets to continue to last forever and ever. So, this is going to be the lowest score that I've given to any movie that I've reviewed since I started this channel 4 years ago. My final verdict for Borderlands 2024 is a lowest effort, damning, well-deserved, -9,000 out of 10! Yes, it's a DBZ joke. I don't give a fuck. This is a piece of fucking garbage! There's zero effort, there is zero passion for the source material, there's zero respect for the fans, there's zero fucking anything worthwhile in this whole piece of shit! Do not watch it! Even out your own morbid curiosity, stay far the fuck away from it! And I feel so bad for the fans that this is what we get. We don't get a Sonic. We don't get a Mario. We don't get a Five Nights at Freddy's. we get this. The worst video game movie I've ever sat through in my entire fucking life, and everyone involved in it should be fucking ashamed of themselves. I'm done. I'm done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry for getting so angry, but I'm tired of being exploited. I'm tired of people thinking that movies like this are acceptable. Because they're not. We expect better from our movies nowadays, especially our video game adaptations. Sonic, Mario, Mortal Kombat 2021, Five Nights at Freddy's. We expect more from our video game adaptations nowadays, and this kind of shit is no longer acceptable. It shouldn't have been acceptable in the fucking first place. But back then, it was all we had, so I was able to give it some leeway. And at least with the original 90s Mario movie, it was so bad it's good. Like, it's such a baffling disaster that it becomes funny. But shit like this, the Wes Anderson Resident Evil movies, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Double Dragon, it just shows how much Hollywood doesn't give a shit. Because unless it's given to someone with actual passion and love for the source material, someone who actually listens to the fans and tries to give us as much as we can, or as much as we possibly want, then it's just being exploited for the sake of being exploited. And this is a movie that I hope burns in the fiery pits of hell for all eternity. Fuck you, Gearbox. Fuck you, 2K. Fuck you, Eli Roth. Fuck, who fucking released this movie, by the way? Who released this? What fucking company was it? Lionsgate. Fuck you, Lionsgate. Like, seriously, fuck everyone involved in this piece of shit. It's obvious that none of you cared. It's obvious none of you did research, and it's obvious that none of you gave a shit. I get video game movies aren't for everybody, but if they're done correctly, like they have been recently, they can be something amazing. Hell, Sonic 2, my favorite movie of all time. But this is just a painful reminder of those awful, awful shit shows we've had to shovel through for the past few years. Hell, Uncharted's better than this. Say what you want about Uncharted. It was at least fun. This was not fun. This was awful. This was terrible. This was garbage. And I hope that at least one person is fired because of it. I hate to be harsh, but that's just how it is. I have tried so hard not to rely on cursing anymore for this channel, so I can be more constructive. But with fucking trash like this, there's no way to describe it without swear words. Literally nothing. Literally no way to describe this fucking trash without a million fucks. Just saying. So, to my fellow Borderlands fans, you can skip this one. It's not worth your time. Don't get exploited like I did, and stay far the fuck away from it. Stick to what's actually good in this series, and pretend this doesn't exist. And hope that one day that we can get a good movie from this series. Something on the level of Sonic or Mario or Mortal Kombat. Just a sad situation all around. Just stick with the games. Do not watch this. And that's it. That's literally all I have to say about this piece of shit. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Probably one of my longest reviews. Probably my longest movie review of this year, to be honest with you. And hopefully, I can see you again next time for something better.